You came to London for a wage. The only room you can afford is in the Old Nichol. 7 days, 1 week's rent, no one to fall back on. Everyone here warns you about the same thing. The man in the alley, the knife, the quick hand at your pocket after dark. Keep your eyes on him. He is the decoy. Somewhere in these 7 days, an ordinary morning hands you the thing that kills you, and you will thank it for the gift. By the 3rd day, the people who own the future arrive to watch you. By the 5th, a room goes quiet in the night. On the 7th, you will stand up, still breathing, and believe you won. You did not. Which day kills you? It is not the day you would guess, and the weapon is already in your hands. You are a day laborer, which in London means you are a body for hire and nothing steadier than that. You came chasing wages. The wages are real. The room you can afford does not deserve the word. It sits in the Old Nichol, in Bethnal Green, and you have 7 days inside it before the rent falls due again. You count it the way a soldier counts a tour. 7 mornings to reach. Wake up, and you have won another day. The men on the corner tell you what to fear. They tip their heads toward the alleys after dark. They mean the blade, the stranger who does you in for the coins sewn into your coat. You believe them. You walk wide of the dark mouths between the houses. You hold your money against your chest. You are watching the wrong thing. The knife is the story this place tells about itself. The way it actually empties a person is slower and quieter, and it is already in the room with you. You just cannot smell it yet. Look at where you have rented a week of your life. About 5,700 people are pressed into 30-odd streets and courts here. In a single room, a dozen of them breathe the same stale air, sleep on the same floor, share the same bucket. Now the line de brochures leave out. Across London, of every 1,000 people, about 20 die in a year. Walk into Bethnal Green and that doubles, 40 in every 1,000. Walk these particular streets, the Nichol itself, and it nearly doubles again, roughly 4 times the city outside your door. You did not move into a poor neighborhood. You moved into a number, and the number is a death rate, and from the morning you handed over your coins you have been living inside it. No one had to stab you to arrange that. The address did it. Renting here is the hazard. Everything else this week is only detail. Day 1, you pay the rent, the coins leave your hand and something in your chest loosens, a roof, 4 walls that are yours until next week. You have bought safety, or at least the feeling cut to its shape. You never see who you paid. The room belongs to a name you will never meet. A man with a pew in a good church or a seat in a good chamber who has never set foot in this court and never will. A collector carries your money up to him. The houses here are some of the most profitable in the whole capital. Rot pays well when enough bodies are stacked inside it. Fall a week behind and you are on the street, so you will not fall behind. You will pay and pay again and feel each payment as a small act of staying alive. You survived day 1. The safety you feel is the first lie the week tells you. You need water. You learn fast that water here is not a thing you have, it is a thing you catch. There is 1 pipe for the whole court, a standpipe, a single iron cock at the end of the street. It does not run when you are thirsty. It runs when the company decides, a couple of hours in the entire week, and never on a Sunday. Miss it and you wait days, so when the cry goes up that the water is on, the whole street pours into the street. You run with your pail, so does everyone. Old women, children, men just off their shifts, all converging on 1 tap with the same animal need. You shove. You are shoved. Someone's bucket cracks against your skull. The water comes slow and brown, and you fight to get your pail beneath it before your turn dissolves into someone else's. You win some. You carry it home against your chest like wages. It feels like a victory. You drank today. You beat the others to it. Here is what no one at the pipe says aloud. The cesspits in these courts overflow, and what overflows drains toward the same supply you just bled for. The water you fought a crowd to win is the water the filth has already found. You did not win water. You won whatever was riding in it. You survived day 1. You also drank it. Day 2, and the Nichol introduces itself through your nose. It is not a smell you get used to. It sits on everything, the walls, the bread, the inside of your own mouth. Under every few houses lies a cesspit, a brick pool of everything the court has produced, and the city holds perhaps 200,000 of them. They are not emptied often, they are barely emptied at all. When they are, it is after dark. A night soil man climbs down into the pit, because the daytime city will not tolerate what he hauls up. The fumes can drop a strong man where he stands. He carries it out by the bucket, and the smell that trails behind him is the smell you wake to. And the pits do not wait for him. They are full. They seep. They overflow into the courts, into the low ground, toward the pipe. That is what closes the trap. Yesterday you fought a crowd for that water and called it winning. The smell in your throat today is where that water has been. The waste and the water are one circle, and you are standing in the middle of it, drinking. Day 3. The carriages come. You hear them before you see them. Good wheels on bad cobbles, a sound that does not belong here. Fashionable London has discovered you. There is a craze for it now. They board omnibuses in the clean parts of the city and ride out after dark to look at the poor in their natural habitat, and the magazines have handed the coaches a pet name. The smart set call it a night's entertainment. They do not climb down. They sit up behind the glass in their good coats and they point. A woman lifts a handkerchief against your street. A man laughs at something and the laugh carries all the way to you. Some of them have dressed down for the thrill, ragged on purpose, playing at being you for an evening they can end whenever they please. You are not a person to them. You are the exhibit. Your hunger is the show. Your court is the cage, and somewhere a ticket has been sold for the looking. Then the wheels turn and they roll back toward the lit city and their warm rooms. The street is yours again. That is the cruelty of it. They get to leave. You survive day 3 by standing still and being watched. Day 4. Your own room is gone. A week's rent only buys a week, and a bad stretch of work eats the next one before it arrives. So tonight you learn what the bottom of the city charges for sleep. Sleep is not free here. Nothing is. For 2 pennies you may sleep at the hangover. You sit on a bench in a row of strangers, and in front of you runs a rope at chest height. You lean forward onto it and let it hold you up, and that is the bed. That is the whole bed. A man comes through at 5 in the morning and cuts the rope, and the entire row drops awake, and you are turned out into the dark. For 2 pennies more, there is the coffin, an actual wooden box, a tarpaulin for a lid, the bug sealed in there with you for the night. The fullest account of this comes down to us second-hand, through a writer who only ever heard it described. But the rope was real, and the price was real, and men paid it. You hand over your last coins to be unconscious for a few hours, upright, on a string. Even rest is rented here, by the inch, and you cannot afford the whole inch. You survive day 4 leaning on a rope. Day 5 does not start with a knife. It starts with a cough, not yours at first. The man 2 feet from you on the floor has it, a wet, tearing sound in the dark that goes on too long. Then the child in the corner has it. Then, somewhere under your own ribs, you feel the first scrape of it, and you go cold in a way the weather cannot explain. This is the turn. Stop watching the alley. There was never a man in the dark coming for you. The thing that empties these streets does not carry a blade. It carries names instead. The consumption that eats the lungs. The cholera that wrings the body dry in a day. The fever that rises out of the squalor and does not leave. London buried thousands of them in living memory, in wave after wave, and the people who lived through it reckoned the cholera killed about half of everyone it touched, and it did not break in through the door. You let it in. You ran for it, at the pipe, and fought a crowd to swallow it. It has been inside you since day 1, multiplying quietly while you congratulated yourself on dodging shadows. The danger was never in the alley. It was in the water. It was in you. You survived 5 days carrying it. In the room you share, there is a baby, not yours. But the room is one room, and the bed is one bed, and at night the whole court folds into the same warm heap, because warmth is the only thing here that costs nothing. The mother does everything right. She pays her share of the rent. She keeps the child close, against her own body, where she can feel it breathe. You should know the arithmetic of this place. Of every 4 children born in these streets, 1 will not reach its first birthday. It is so common the parish barely looks up. And in this same year, across Bethnal Green, of the infants found dead in a shared family bed, 5 out of every 6 had been smothered in the dark, beside a sleeping parrot who was only trying to keep them warm. One night, the small sound in the corner stops. By morning, the bed is 1 body lighter, and no one in the room pretends to be surprised. The mother did everything she was told would save them. She paid the rent. She held the child close. The roof she bought could keep out the rain. It could not keep the child alive. That is the floor of this place, and you are lying on it. Day 6. The cough is yours now, all the way down. The cold has reached the center of you. Your own skin frightens you. Too hot, then crawling, then too hot again. The scrape in your chest has hardened into a weight. You measure the room and how many steps you can take before you need the wall. And the fever does something strange. It does not stop you counting. One more day. You are nearly there. You have come this far through the pipe and the rope and the smell, and some animal part of you still believes the week has a finish line and that reaching it means something. You drink a little of the water you have left. Of course you do. You are thirsty, and thirst does not care what you have learned this week. The thing already killing you is the thing you reach for to feel better. You tell yourself it is only one more night. You survive day 6 on your hands and knees. Day 7, you wake up. That is the whole victory, and for one morning it feels like enough. You are still here. 7 mornings asked of you, 7 mornings reached. The rent is paid. The knife in the alley never came. You were right to be afraid and you outlasted the fear. The light comes up gray over the court, the way it always does. Someone is already queuing at the pipe. A carriage of visitors will roll through again tonight to look. The smell is still the smell. But you stood up. You made the week. Let yourself believe it for a moment, because the whole trick of this place depends on you believing it. You survived. You won. You beat the Old Nichol. You did not. You have only reached the moment where it tells you the truth. This is the truth the 7th morning was hiding. You did not survive the week. You spent it dying and called it surviving. Every day of it was the same trick. The water you fought a crowd to win, that was the cholera, swallowed by your own hand because you were thirsty and proud. The rent you scraped together and paid on time, that bought you a place in the lungs of the death rate, packed in with a dozen others breathing the same fevered air. The rope you leaned on, the smell you learned to ignore, the warmth of the shared bed, every single thing you did to stay alive was the door the place came in through. That is the cruelty of the Old Nichol. It does not kill you for failing. It kills you for succeeding. Every correct move, every careful act of staying alive was the delivery. Think of the number again, 4 times the city outside, 20 in 1,000 out there, and near 80 in 1,000 in these courts. While you were counting days and feeling clever for reaching the next one, you were not standing beside that number. You were inside it. You always were. From the morning you paid the first week's rent, the coin was already weighted and it was already coming down against you. You did everything right. That is exactly how it killed you. So name who killed you, because the knife never existed and someone still did this, not a robber. A robber wants you alive enough to rob again. The man who owned your room killed you, the one you never met, taking up to half again his money each year on houses he let rot, because rot was cheaper than repair. The company that owned the water killed you, running one pipe a few hours a week and never on a Sunday, then leaving the cesspits to leak into it. The fine people in the carriages killed a piece of you too. They came to watch. They paid for the watching. Not one of them came back with help. Every one of them went home to clean water in a private bed and slept well. None of them ever saw your face. They did not need to. The distance was the whole arrangement. You were a line in a rent book and a number in a mortality table, and both of those paid out nicely for men who were never once in the room. The knife would have been mercy. It would at least have had a hand on it. You do not get to know which day it was. Day 1, when you paid. Day 3, when you swallowed it. Day 5, when you felt it move. The nickel does not tell you. It just takes the week and keeps it. But the streets did not last either. A short while after your 7 days, the men with plans finally came. They condemned the Old Nichol and pulled it down, court by court, rope house, and cesspit and standpipe and all. A writer set it into a novel first, street for street, so it could not be denied later, and then they erased the thing itself. Where your room stood, they raised something new. Clean blocks around a green circle, real water, real beds, one of the first places in the world, a city ever built to house its poor with dignity. People live there now, in rooms with windows that open. None of them are you. They arrived a generation too late for you. The future was real, and it was good, and it stands on the exact ground where the week killed you. You paid for it. You just never got to live in it.